James Mangold, the man who wrote and directed Logan, has been hired by Kathleen Kennedy to write and direct a Boba Fett movie for the Star Wars universe. You know, Boba Fett is the famous bounty hunter in Star Wars lore who made his debut in the early original, George Lucas movies in the early 70s, late 80s, that era of Star Wars. The golden age of Star Wars movies. And we got his origin in Attack of the Clones, I think, in the George Lucas prequels that didn't go over as well as the original trilogy, but we got his origin. And now he's coming back in the new era of Star Wars movies that has polarized fans a little bit, divided. There are people who love this current era of Star Wars movies and people who do not. But I think in order to help things out, Kathleen Kennedy has hired a very, respected and talented creative director, director and writer to helm one of her movies. And she released this press release. I think they came out this past weekend, the weekend of Solo: A Star Wars Story's debut, because I think she wanted to combat the possible negative backlash by releasing a positive article or something that would get fans excited, to combat the potentially negative chatter that she and other people I think might have anticipated Solo would get. Hiring James Mangold to direct a Boba Fett movie is a good move because people like and respect his work, because people love Logan. The same fan community that's supporting sci-fi and fantasy movies and all these kinds of movies today, they loved Logan. They thought it was sophisticated, well written. They liked the way it treated its main character. And, having him in a Star Wars movie with one of their more famous supporting background characters is good. Now, I say supporting in background because even though Boba Fett is well known with Star Wars people, Star Wars fans, the character actually hasn't really done much in the movies. I think they've expanded him a lot in comic books and novelizations. Now, it'll be interesting to see what kind of tone they're going for. Because, Logan, although it was very, good and sophisticated, it is a much darker, more hardcore movie than Star Wars has typically given us, especially now that they're owned by Disney. Disney has a brand and a reputation of never really going to certain places because that would, impede the brand. So are they going to make a Boba Fett movie as gritty as, a serious bounty hunter who's pretty nasty needs to be? Because they just did Solo: A Star Wars movie, and while I enjoyed it, and most critics did, one of the criticisms against it is that it wasn't as hardcore as it should have been, given the fact that it was about Han Solo in his earlier days when he was rougher. They gave us a kinder, gentler Han Solo. They softened him up for his Solo movie. So are they going to soften up Boba Fett, a character whom I think should even be more hardcore than Han Solo was? Boba Fett, I think got Han Solo. He froze him in carbonite and he was going to kill him. And I think he tried to kill Luke Skywalker. Boba Fett is not a light character. He's not a softcore character at all. He's done even worse stuff. Stuff that befits a character of his type in the comics and novelizations. So, if Kathleen Kennedy's going to make a movie about him, is she going to be as faithful to the source material, to what people expect from a character like that, as you'd say she should be? And now the question remains is, are we actually going to get a Boba Fett movie? Because it's been announced, but, studios make announcements of movies all the time. And, they don't always make them. She did hire a director and writer. James Mangold has been hired, so that is something. But, they've announced an Obi-Wan movie, and we've heard about that for a while, and we haven't seen much movement on that. She's hired, the Game of Thrones showrunners to do a new trilogy. Rian Johnson, who did The Last Jedi, a very divisive Star Wars movie. He's supposed to be getting his own trilogy. And so we have, at least about 8 or 9 films that have been announced and people have been hired for. But, I'm unsure if all of these movies are actually going to come to fruition. And, of course, we have Episode 9, right? The J.J. Abrams movie that has been scheduled to be released late next year. And I think Episode 9 might be retooled in the writing phase to appease a lot of the people who are causing the backlash that, came with The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi, a lot of people didn't like it and a lot of people did like it. And for the people who didn't like it, they're being very passionate and vocal online. And there's some of the same people who want to see Solo fail this weekend because they're hoping that would send a message to Kathleen Kennedy or even get her fired from her post. So we'll see. I do think that a Boba Fett movie, if done well, could do a lot to repair a lot of the bad faith that fans have with the Star Wars universe right now. You know, Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, if they actually ever do this young Obi-Wan Kenobi movie with Ewan McGregor in the role, they're two characters a lot of Star Wars fans actually like, and I think they would be interested to see what their own solo movies would be like. And they'd love to see the two of them, you know, meet and like maybe fight, you know, have combat or something in one of their movies. So if Kathleen Kennedy's still in her post and these movies still happen, you know, they could be good for the Star Wars universe. But we'll see. I mean, if Solo tanks and if Episode 9 tanks, there could be some reshuffling in the Star Wars universe in terms of, you know, who's in charge of what behind the scenes, which would mean movie release dates and schedules will be changed as well. Thank you for watching. That's my Star Wars movie update for the day. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube because I appreciate your viewership, and subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.